You may not talk to people in your group. If you can't sit in your group and not talk to people, you can't sit in a group. You may not get help from the people around you. It's a test. I'm not sure what you're trying to show me, that it's whatever it was isn't a reason to be okay to talk to Noah during read aloud. No, I just want you guys to figure out it's not going to be okay for you to see if I can get away with it when Mr. Searson starts reading again. Okay. Amy peeled the package open. Inside was the cylinder. Nothing happened. Inside was a metal cylinder like a flashlight, except the light was a strip of purple glass running down the one side. Attached was a note attached in slappy handwriting, like the writer had been in a hurry. Meet me at Independence Hall this evening at 8, but only if you find the information. WM. P.S. Thank you for calling the ambulance. Remember they called the ambulance when he was laying on the ground? They used his phone. Find what information? Dan asked, reading over his shoulder. The next clue, I guess. What clue? Nellie demanded. Nothing, Dan and Amy said. Nellie blew a tuft of black and blonde hair out of her eyes. Whatever. Stay right here. I'll bring the car around. She left them standing with the bags and Saladin in his new cat carrier. Saladin hadn't been too pleased with the cat carrier any more than Nellie had been with the fresh red snapper they'd bought to keep him happy. But Amy hadn't had the heart to leave him behind. Brrr, Saladin asked. Amy reached down and scratched his head through the bars. Dan, maybe we shouldn't make that rendezvous. Mr. McIntyre told us not to trust anyone. You may not help him, Lance. It's a test. A test. No, you don't need anything. Sit down. I'm sorry. I know this is really hard with the math test being there. You have to do it by yourself. Lance, did you take it out a third time out of the math basket? No. The only reason someone would do that is that they saw an answer that was right on somebody else's and went to change theirs. Put it back in. You're on live stream camera right now. Why don't you turn it in and be quiet about it? We're not doing that right now. Thank you. Sorry, what I'm seeing right now is people getting up and getting supplies to do just random projects that you're choosing to do, and that's not an option right now. Your job is just to listen to the story and enjoy it. You don't need to find something else to do. You can just listen to the story and enjoy it. The rest of us, though, are working on a math test, and we need silence and focus. All right, we only got like a page so far. But the note is from him. It could be a trick. That makes it even better. We've got to go. Amy twisted her hair. She hated when Dan didn't take her seriously, and this could be dangerous. If we go, it says we have to find the information first. But you know where to look, right? You're smart and stuff. Smart and stuff. Like that's all they needed to track down a clue in a huge city. Before they left Boston, she splurged and bought some books about Franklin and Philadelphia from her friends at a used bookshop. She spent the whole train trip reading, but still. I've got a few ideas, she admitted, but I don't know where we're going in the long term. I mean, have you thought about what this ultimate treasure could be? Something cool. Oh, that's real helpful. I mean, what could make somebody the most powerful Cahill in history? And why 39 clues? You guys ready for this? Check this out. Dan shrugged. 39 is a sweet number. It's 13 times 3. It's also the sum of 5 prime numbers in a row. 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13. And if you add the first 3 powers of 3, 3 to the first power, 3 to the second power, and 3 to the third power, you get 39. Amy stared at him. How did you know that? What do you mean? It's obvious. Amy shook her head in dismay. Dan acted like a doofus most of the time. Then he'd pull something like that, adding prime numbers or powers of 3 that she never thought about. Their dad had been a mathematics professor, and Dan apparently had inherited all his number sense. Amy had trouble remembering phone numbers. She held up the weird metal cylinder Mr. McIntyre had sent them. She switched it on and the light glowed purple. What is that thing? Dan asked. I don't know, Amy said, but I have a feeling we better figure it out before 8 o'clock. Amy hated cars as much as she hated crowds. She promised herself that when she got older, she'd live somewhere where she never had to drive. That was because she'd been in the car with Nellie before. Nellie had rented a Toyota hybrid. She said it was more environmental, which was fine with Amy, but it cost $258 a day. And the way Nellie raced around corners and gunned the gas wasn't exactly green. Did you just get it right back out again? It goes on my desk. I can't trust you. The next place it will go is the garbage. By the way, don't trust me, but expect me to believe you the next time you tell them someone. I'll believe them over you because you don't do the right thing. Fix it. Integrity is important. I'm sorry, Thurkers. I don't mean to stop so much. It's just, if I could just trust people to do the right thing, put students first rather than themselves first, we'd be in good shape. But we're really good about putting ourselves first and doing what we want to do, even when we know it's wrong. They're on Interstate 95 heading towards downtown, which Amy happened to look behind them. She wasn't exactly sure why. A prickling sensation in her neck like she was being watched. In fact, she was. We're being followed, she announced. What? Dan asked. 5 cars back, Amy said. Gray Mercedes. It's the Starlings. A Starbucks? Nellie said excitedly. Where? Starlings, Amy corrected. Our relatives, Ned, Ted, and Sinead. Nellie snorted. That's not really their names. I'm not joking, Amy said. It's part of the scavenger hunt. Nellie, we can't let them follow us. We have to lose them. Nellie didn't need to be told twice. She yanked the wheel to the right, and the Toyota careened across 3 lanes of traffic. Saladin yelled. Just as they were about ready to slam into some safety impact barrels, Nellie slipped onto an exit ramp. The last view Amy got of the Starlings was Sinead's freckled face pressed against the window of the Mercedes, her jaw hanging open as she watched Amy and Dan get away. So she just cut across 3 lanes of traffic and onto the exit ramp, right before the exit ramp. No way the Starlings could follow her at that point. Is that lost enough? Nellie asked. Mrrp, Saladin protested. You could have killed us. Dan had a big grin on his face. Do that again. No, Amy said. Locust Street, and hurry. Their first stop was the Library Company of Philadelphia, a big red brick building in the middle of downtown. Amy and Dan asked Nellie to wait in the car as Saladin. Then they walked out to the front steps. Oh boy, another library, Dan said. We have such great luck with libraries. Remember the last one they were at caught on fire? Franklin founded this place, Amy told him. It's got a lot of the books from his personal collection. And if we can convince the librarians, what's the big deal with Benjamin Franklin anyway? I mean, so the guy invented electricity or whatever. That was hundreds of years ago. He didn't invent electricity, Amy said, trying not to sound too annoyed. He discovered that lightning was the same stuff as electricity. He invented lightning rods to protect buildings and experimented with batteries. And I do that. Have you ever put one on your tongue? The batteries. You're an idiot. The thing that Franklin was famous for is for a lot of reasons. He started out getting rich with his printing business. Then he became a scientist and invented a bunch of stuff. Later, he helped write the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. He was even an ambassador to England and France. He was brilliant, world famous. Everybody liked him. And he lived till he was in his 80s. Superman, Dan said. Pretty much. So do you think he knew what it was, this treasure we're looking for? Amy hadn't thought of that. Franklin had been one of the most influential people in history. If he was at Cahill and he knew about their family's secret treasure, I think, she said, we better find out. She pushed the doors open and let Dan inside. Sorry, just making sure we were focused. Fortunately, the librarians were having a slow day, and Amy wasn't shy around them at all. She loved librarians. When she told them she was doing a summer research project of Benjamin Franklin and needed to use historical documents, they fell all over themselves to help her. They made Amy and Dan wear latex gloves and sit in a climate-controlled reading room while they brought out old books to look at. The librarian set one down, and Amy gasped. This is Franklin's first cartoon. Dan squinted at it. The picture showed a snake cut into 8 pieces, each one labeled with an American region. Not very funny for a cartoon, Dan said. It's not supposed to be funny, Amy said. Back then, cartoons made a point. Like he's saying if the colonies don't get together, Britain will cut them apart. Uh-huh. Dan turned his attention to his computer. They'd only been in the library maybe 5 minutes, and here he was looking bored, clacking away on his laptop rather than helping her. Amy pored over the other artifacts. A newspaper that had printed on Franklin's own printing press, a copy of Pilgrim's Progress that Franklin had owned. So much amazing stuff. But what was she looking for? Amy felt pressured, and she didn't do well under pressure. Find what you need? The librarian asked. She had frizzy hair and bifocals and looked like sort of a friendly witch. Maybe more, please? Anything that was, important to Franklin? The librarian thought for a moment. Franklin's letters were important to him. He wrote many, many letters to his friends and family because he lived in Europe so long. I'll bring you some. She adjusted her glasses and left the room. And that's where we stop. The Library Company of Philadelphia. All right.